Hello, everybody, and welcome to, hopefully everyone can hear to start with. Welcome to our fourth SME Export Talk, this time on a really exciting topic, food safety for exports. So again, this is the fourth of our Export Talk series in collaboration with Arise Plus Cambodia, without whom this series would not be possible. And what we aim to do with all of these SME export talks is break down complicated topics, all of the difficult regulations that prevent SMEs in Cambodia from starting to get their products to Europe and other markets. You can see some of our examples of the previous export talks on our website here. So I'd encourage you to click on this link. It's also on the Arise Plus Cambodia website. Arise Plus has also produced a series of lovely brochures on each of these topics. And so for any of the areas we cover in this webinar, you can find more detail in those brochures. So to introduce today's webinar, this is myself. I'm the moderator today. I'm the Deputy Executive Director at EuroCham Cambodia. Here, I support companies get invested in Cambodia, and actually quite often now we're supporting companies export from Cambodia to European markets. Today's agenda will last around 1 hour and 15 minutes. It will start with a 10-minute introduction. I'm going through this now. We'll have a little bit of a talk with from Arise Plus from Mr. Guillaume MALTAVERNE. We're then going to be breaking into our 3 core talks, and we have a panel lined up. So the first, we have Ms. Yuong Rathana from Control Union. Control Union provides a number of food safety audits in Cambodia, and Rathana herself is a food safety auditor. So she'll be going over some of the perspectives she sees, some of the challenges she sees from SMEs trying to get their products certified to begin that export journey. We are then joined by a very special guest from Vietnam, Ms. Cindy Dinh from Bureau Veritas. So a big problem in Cambodia is that there's actually not that many laboratories here to do your testing. And so to find our speaker for this, we had to search a little bit further afield. So we're really looking forward to Ms. Cindy's presentation as she goes over the role of the laboratories, the issues she sees in some of the samples that are delivered at her lab, and how SMEs in Cambodia could potentially jump over those challenges. And then finally, we're joined by Mr. Holly Meas from Kirarom Food Production, who represents a Cambodian SME that has jumped through all of these hurdles. They have an impressive list of certifications, an impressive list of export markets they're already getting their products to, including the Middle East. And so they will really share their perspective of going through this lab process, going through this audit process. We'll then have a panel discussion. We already have 12 questions from the audience from pre-registrations, and I know we have another 100 or so people joined on the call today. If you have a question at any time, please do type it in the chat box, and we'll be able to get to as many of them as possible within the time window. And then we'll finally close at around 11:15. So just before we move on, I just have to go over a few technical issues. Of course, we're still beholden to the whims of the internet gods. If you cannot hear, please just kindly check your internet connection again and try and rejoin. If we suffer a complete internet failure, we'll record the talk. We'll send a link to the YouTube video to everybody on board. We really hope that doesn't happen, but if it does, we will close it cleanly, we'll record and send you that recording afterwards. Again, if you have a question, type it in the chat box. If you have background noise, make sure you're muted. And if you have any feedback, also please send to the email address here, that is com.officer@eurochamcambodia.org. So those are my main intro statements. I'll now pass you on to our sponsor and our co-organizer.
Thank you very much, Tom. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us this morning. So my name is Guillaume, and I joined Plus Cambodia in January this year. Prior to this, I have had different experiences abroad. I would like to start to say a few words about who we are. So first of all, the term ARISE stands for ASEAN Regional Integration. This is a project commissioned and co-financed by European Union and BMZ, which is the German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development. That's why you can see the EU and German flags at the bottom of the presentation. This is implemented by GIZ, and it will go until June 2020. If you want to know more, I recommend you to visit our website. It's on the slide, and we are also present on Facebook and LinkedIn. So this project is about trade, and we have a specific team working with SMEs and export. So we are currently supporting a list of 15 SMEs to export more, or to export to new destination markets. And we cooperate as well with business association on the public-private dialogue mechanism related to export and SMEs. But we are here today because of the Trade Info event. So when you see these logos, just two things to keep in mind. All the topics are related to export, and the content is designed to be relevant for SMEs. So today, this is the first edition. We have the objective to conduct a total of 8 events until the end of next year. The next one would be e-commerce for export. It will likely take place in February 2022. We really hope we could resume in-person events. I'm very optimistic about that, but once the event will be well advanced in the preparation, EuroCham will be able to communicate about this. So I would just say stay tuned. As Tom mentioned, for each SME Export Talk, we publish a brochure. So the brochure is reader-friendly, and it gives an overview of the topic, key facts related to the Cambodian environment, the definition of the terms. It is possible to download it from 2 websites, ARISE Plus and EuroCham. I would like to say a few words about today's topic. First of all, we organize a SME Export Talk about standard and certification, and we'll completely realize how it can be complex, and how wide is the topic. And many Cambodian exporting SMEs are operating in the agro sector. That's why we wanted to dedicate an event on food safety. So on the left of the slide, you can see categories of hazard, which is possible to be found in the food. And food safety is about consumer protection, is to make sure that when you eat, this is safe. Otherwise, can have experience such as like food poisoning, and I would say more serious health risk. To avoid this, the best solution is what we call the preventive approach. So basically, is to prevent the food is contaminated by the hazards you can see on the slide. And to do so, the preventive approach will be based on standard and certification, which are internationally recognized. I added 6 logos on the slide. There are more. It's probably the one which are the most famous and widely applied by SMEs. And some of them are even in the regulation, such as HACCP. So that's not an option. So on this slide, you can see 2 screenshots. And this is when importing countries has decided to put a ban on food importation. So on the left, this is a screenshot from the World Trade Organization. There was a case when the EU banned the importation of mango from India because there was an overuse of pesticides. So the EU Food Safety Authority considered it was unsafe for consumption. And the consequences were just a full stop, no import. And on the right side, this is a case more related to Cambodia. A large quantity of longan produced in Cambodia is actually procured by Thai buyers that then supply the longan to China. And the Chinese Food Safety Authority found some bugs in the longan shipment. As a result, they stopped the importation of longan from Thailand, which has had direct impact on Cambodian farmers. So why I'm saying this is because there is no compromise. If the food is considered as unsafe by the food safety authorities, there is no more export, which is possible. So that's why it is very, very important today to discuss food safety. And I hope our guest speakers, they could develop more on the matters. So thank you again very much for joining us today. And Tom, over to you.
Oh, yeah, thank you very much. So indeed, thank you for that good introduction. And yes, a very good introduction to why food safety.
Just Tom, I inserted the link on the slide. So if they want to know more about the consequences in the whole process, I recommend our audience to upload.
Okay, so you heard from Guillaume. Please click on that link to learn. Will we share the slides afterwards? Yes, we will, and we'll share the full recording as well. So now on to the core content of today's webinar. Yeah, as before, really excited to welcome Ms. Rathana Yuong, joining from Control Union, sharing the perspectives working for Control Union and working as a food auditor for SMEs. And so Rathana, the floor is yours, and we'll mute ourselves over here.
Okay, thank you, Tom, and good morning, everybody. Today I'm glad to join Food Safety for Export organized by EuroCham, and my name is Yuong Rathana, and I now work for Control Union Company as an auditor. I'm on food safety program and also organic program. I'm a lead auditor for ISC 22000, quality and environment ISO 14000. Next, yeah. Next slide, please. A bit about Control Union. Control Union originated from Netherlands since 1920, so it already 1 year, 101 year now. The company and their office worldwide, more than 70 countries. Yes, please. Next, please. Food safety certification, we have some program like GMP, ACP, ISO 22000, IC 22000, and BRC. Yeah, please. Next. Why the food safety is important? As you know, more than 200 diseases is from food. It can be diarrhea to cancer, and almost 1 in 10 people in the world get sick after eating food, and 220,000 die every year, especially for the children less than 5 years. 40% that burden for foodborne disease. It equals to 125,000 deaths every year. And unsafe food creates vicious circular disease and malnutrition, particularly affecting infants, young children, earlier and sick. Yes, next. Next slide, please. Food safety. What is food safety? Food safety is that the food will not cause harm to the consumer when it prepared and be eaten according to its intended use. And food safety can be happen is through the combined effort of all parties. It cannot happen only from manufacturer side. It need to be all party like supplier, manufacturer, distributor, and also consumer itself. Yeah, please. Next, yeah, okay. Concerned about the food safety, we not only concerned about the food content, but it also its packaging and other supporting material like gas for preservation, like silica gel, like advertising material. Next. And what is the benefit of the food safety certification? When you are certified food safety program, it will lead your product to be your company to be less hassle on document filing and answering to the buyer technical question. And when you get the audit, your facility you will get your facility improved by the finding from the auditor. Yes, next. And also when you already certified company, or you will be the first choice from the buyer and the customer reputation. Worldwide certification is worldwide accepted, and it provides confidence on the manufacturer. And of course, your company when you already certified, you will answer to the first question of the buyer. The buyer, when they looking for some product, they will have the supplier qualification for. Do you have food safety program in your organization, something like that? And your company will also appear in the review directory, and the buyer can read you through searching certification relation database. Yes, next. Next. I would like to brief what about the GMP. GMP is applicable to any food handler industry. It is a foundation level certification. And GMP or HACCP is required by some company, like some country, example, fresh produce to Thailand. And this certification can be combined with other food safety certification audit. And one more certificate is HACCP that we call hazard certification. It's a risk-based and proactive approach, like Mr. Guillaume has mentioned already, and it started in 1960 to support NASA activity in the space, and it accepts all over the world this certificate. And some country HACCP is under the legal requirement, especially for the sensitive product, for example, like seafood, critical product. Yes, next please. And one more certification is ISO 22000. The last version of ISO 22000 is in 2018, and it's applicable to all organizations in the supply chain. It is a comprehensive standard and all over the world as well. Yeah, next. The one more program is we call FIC 22000. It is a GFI Global Food Safety Initiative benchmark recognized. It is a combination, the standard combination of ISO 22000 plus technical standard for different scope sector and plus additional requirement. And normally this is required by the USA company. Yeah, USA company require this standard. Okay, please, next. one more program is we call BRC. BRC is published in 1988, and it's clarity to what is zone. It's high risk, high care, and then high care, and it's also the GSI recognized, and the certificate for this only 1 year validity, while the previous certificate is valid for 3 years. Next. And here is some other program like ISC, International Food Standard, like McDonald's Supply Quality Management System, vegan certified vegan production, like gluten-free certified. Okay, just next. Step 2 food safety certification. So first you need to select what the certification scheme or standard that you your buyer or customer require, and then you need to develop and implement HACCP-based food safety management system, and then you need to conduct internal audit. Yes, next. And then step 4, you need to conduct management review. Step 5, you need to, after you conduct, you have internal audit, and then you will find, you do management review, you will need to improve, then you adjust your system accordingly, and then step 6, you do corrective action for improvement. Step 7, please. Next. After that, you need to contact certified body who has accreditation to issue the valid certificate. And then step 8, you need the CB, the certified body, will conduct certification audit for your facility. And then close NC is any, and then the CB will issue you valid certificate. And then you are ready for export to your buyer. Next, please. And here I just want to share some challenge to the SME that in Cambodia that they have faced, like renovation the building. Normally, when you want to comply with the food safety standard, you need to have the correct process flow and also the correct material of the building. And some SME, they just use the like household to make the processing. Then they need to do renovation. Like simple in this case, like they need to change the wall, floor, the door in the household is made from wood, but in the food manufacturing it cannot be like this, and then they need to change. And here the estimate price that they charge, it's around 13,000 just for renovation of the building for 62 meter square. Yeah. So I would recommend that if you wish to comply with the standard, you should first start to consult with the consultant to get the facility comply to the standard, and then it will be easier. Yes, next. And to be successful, implement food safety management system. First point, it needs commitment from the top management, and also involvement from the top management. And then second thing, the team for food safety team or HACCP team, it needs to be multiple disciplinary approach, like they have different expertise from production, from microbiology, from food technology, for example, and then team need to be aware and have skill, need to conduct ongoing training to all level of the staff, because it's only management, it cannot happen. It need to be all level of staff need to aware of the food safety culture, positive food safety culture around the factory. Yeah, please next. And here I would like to share some document that the SME can search engine from Codex Alimentarius, all the standards based from the Codex, and you can go to the website here, www.fao.org, and then you can find many documents in here like simple standard, guideline, code, and then you just need to look what the guideline is suitable for your product. Yeah, please. Next. And from Control Union, we also have available resource in public for free. It's like you can go to the link here, CUC publication, controlunion.com. You can find many standard in there, like food safety standard or connect. We have many standards, social compliance. You just go to the link, this link, and then you click on the program here, what you want to know. And then we have like the standard, the application form there, like this ISO 22000. We have what project, what client already certified with us, the list of client in here. You can also find. Yeah, please next. Oh, next slide. Yeah, and that is my last and only question. Oh, here I just Rathana, please stop at the first. And then I will just share you the certification fee. Sorry, Rathana, you can just end the presentation now, and here I can say after the question.
Okay, Rathana, thank you very much for that. We can get on to the certification fee, just taking a little bit time to load, but indeed that will be a question that we have at the end. Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you. Yeah, I can move from. Yeah, thank you for that presentation. And for the people listening on, there's really not that many food safety auditors in Cambodia. So people with roles like Rathana, one of the crucial limitations we found is that there's not too many people who are able to disseminate this very complex regulatory information to Khmer audiences, just because there's not this documentation in Khmer. And so I'd really encourage you to reach out to companies like Bureau Veritas, to Rathana, who can really distill this process into well, basically into Khmer language, because it is an extremely complicated topic. And Rathana, I really like the fact that you dropped the you simplified the steps into 10 key steps to getting a food safety certification. So very well done on that. And now, leading on to our next one, though, we have Mr. Cindy Dinh, who will talk about the role of the laboratories. And this is the next step after the food safety audit. So, Cindy, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Mr. K. Can you see me clearly? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let me introduce myself before we started. Now I will share my screening.
Perfect. Yes, Cindy, we can see them now.
Yes. Let me introduce myself. My name is Oanh, and I graduated as a biology expert and plus 1 year participated in the International Agricultural Training course in Israel. And I entered the food industry with 7 years with experience to support many food producers and traders in Vietnam as well as the Europe, APAC and the US. And I have experience and a knowledge on food regulation of various markets like EU, US, China, Japan, and Korea. I hope my knowledge will support for you by testing, advising, and inspecting service in the future. Today, I'm very delighted to be here to tell you about the role of laboratory in food safety testing, and my talk will be 3 parts. The part 1 is the role of laboratory, The second one is I will show you some regulation of EU market, and finally, I will show you a short introduction about our lab, BVIQ Vietnam. So let's start to the first one. I show here the 6 roles of laboratory in food safety testing. The first one, we can support you by quality control. The laboratory can provide the analysis result data on raw material, semi-finished product from farm to fork that help you build up the production plan for your factory. And the second one, we will help you to detect the microbial, chemical, physical hazard to prove your products are properly manufactured to the health and safety for your consumer. And the third is one laboratory could help you identify the food problem that help your company survival and growth your business in a long term, and also build up your good brand image. And the next one, the laboratory can provide for you the testing result. That will be useful information that support for your R&D team to developing new product. Such as, I give you an example, the testing result of nutrition fact or the safety of ingredient or component can help your R&D team to make a choice and decision when they choosing the ingredients or components. And I think here is the most important for you. In my presentation, I will show you an example for EU market regulation. I think the laboratory could help you to meet the export or import standards. And finally, as my activity today, our lab usually sharing the new food safety regulation for food producer, trader that help you awareness the importance of food safety regulation. And now I move to the part 2. I will show you here some food safety regulation of EU market with 4 regulation about the pesticide and contaminants and the GMO and the microbiological that could help you to get the basically food safety regulation in EU market. So I add here many links so you can click here and get more knowledge about it. You can see here the browser of pesticide residue database of EU. You can input your product here, and it will provide for you the list of pesticide with the MRL accordingly. So you can plan to buy your raw material or work with your supplier to manage the quality control of the raw material. I show you here an example for mango. When you have the fresh mango that you would like to export to EU, you have to follow the pesticide regulation and heavy metal and GMO and many regulation here. But I show you an important thing is law by reforce 18. They put the MRL very low. That's a 0.01 microgram per kilogram. So you should focus on something chemical was banned in EU. The next one, I will show you the new update from EU regulation. You can see here, I show you three chemical. That's the ethylene oxide, glyphosate, Laboratories. With ethylene oxide, they found a food accident on a sesame from India. So now EU very strictly on ethylene oxide control in the EU market. The MIL says from 2.02 microgram per kilogram to 0.1 microgram on rice, black pepper, or cashew nuts. So it's very strictly. So you should refer to the link I put here to get more information. And the next one I mentioned here is glyphosate. Glyphosate, they said MRL is 0.1 microgram per kilogram for almost agricultural products, and is the glyphosate as an herbicide. So the farmer use it many in the farm. So let's focus on glyphosate if you would like to export your product to EU. And the last one I show you here is Laboratories. Laboratories is insecticide. So they set the MRL very low, and they can follow the regulation 1085. So you can refer to the link here to get the Laboratories MRL. I also put the Laboratories 18 on the pesticide data of EU, and you see here on the agricultural product they apply, they depend, and they put the very low MIL. Now I go to the final part. I will introduce for you our role, our lab BVRQ in Vietnam. With this one, I show you three parts. First one, I will show you the BVRQ, and the second one, I will show you the BVRQ Vietnam, and the last one, I show you our service capacity. With BVRQ, we are a joint venture between the Bureau Veritas and New Zealand Premier Food Assurance that called Assure Quality. That's why our name is BVAQ. Yes. I show you here our green food. We have over 50 laboratories over the world, and we focus on the Southeast Asia. About BVRQ Vietnam, we operated almost 10 years in Vietnam, and we have accredited ISO 17025, and we recognized by many ministries of Health Vietnam, Ministry of Agriculture, and Department of Livestock Vietnam. And we also get the GAPTA certification. We located in Cần Thơ, it's nearby the Ho Chi Minh City. We invest a lot of instrument here, like LCMSMS, GCMSMS to analyze the pesticide, antibiotics, and we can testing the chemicals, contaminants, residue, toxin, microbiology, and also some environmental sample. That is some our major clients in Vietnam. You can see here we have Oanh, CP Group, Yes. I show you the detail of our service capacity. I hope that it is useful for you in the future. If you would like to find out a laboratory that will help you by control your control quality on your product. Our laboratory testing, we provide a wide range of testing service on dairy products, foods and beverage, fruits and vegetables, spices, and oil. I know that a company have a lot of farm, so I think you're strong in fruits and vegetable. So our laboratory are equipped with state-of-the-art instrument like LCMS, GCMS, MS, HBLC, or ICP-MS. That's a very good instrument that will provide for you an accurate result that okay. For the dairy specialist testing, we have a strong laboratory in Australia, and we expand our business in Southeast Asia. We offer a broad and comprehensive range of food and related to testing for producer, processor of dairy. And we also provide our service for testing environmental sample and other service we provide here in Vietnam. We can provide the cell line testing. You may be very interesting in it in the future. With the chemistry, we show here is some kind of parameter here. We can provide the nutrition testing and physical and active ingredient on many kind of samples. For the contaminants, like when you have a product that you would like to export to the EU, you should follow the heavy metal, pesticide, GMO, or drug residue or microtoxin. BVAQ Vietnam can get your sample and analyze it and give you the result, and we compare together with the EU regulation, and we can come to the conclusion that your product is pass or fail. Yes. With the microbiology, you know, it is related to the hygiene. So we can provide the testing bacteria, yeast and mold, and total plague count for on products like dairy, milk products, seed and nut. And other service I would like to mention here is we also provide the inspection services and the cell line testing. With the cell line testing, we can control the sensory testing, microbiology tool. Yes.
Cindy, just 1 minute left for this section. Sorry.
Yes. Thank you. My presentation is going to the last minute, so I would like to show you why you choose BVAQ as your partner. We have over 50 laboratory worldwide, and we can provide for you the regulation that help you very much when you have a product to export to Europe, the US, and we also follow the quality, and we recognize the ISO 17025. Yes, and we our lab is also have an innovation day by day, and we have a customer service. We have a sales team that will very active and will help you very much in the future. And we also work closely with the customer. So my present now is finished. I hope to get more questions from you. On the question part.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yes.
And yeah, indeed, we will have the chance for more questions at the end. I know that there's a few coming in for specific requirements, and also in the chat box, Pedro has said that the Bureau Veritas office in Cambodia has a sample collection room available to support you process your food samples. So I think that there are not that many laboratory testing bodies in Cambodia. Currently, I know that at EuroCham and GIZ, we're currently compiling a list of certifying bodies, and so we'll be able to release these to the participants as well. And BVAQ is just one of those. We have Control Union, Bureau Veritas, Pasteur Institute as well. But really, there's not too many, and it's a question that I'll have for you in the end, Cindy, how we can develop the Cambodian lab industry a bit more as well. And so, thank you very much. And to move on to our final speaker, I'm very pleased to be joined by Mr. Misoli, the sales manager of Curon Food Production. And especially pleased to join because I think all of you've heard the process of the food safety auditor. You've heard the laboratory efforts that go into this. I know for myself, sometimes I can look at these slides and think it just seems so much information to take in. It can seem almost impossible to start taking the steps to actually get these certifications. But fortunately, Curon Food Production has already done that. And so really happy to have Mr. Holly share his experiences with the audience today. So Holly, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Hasket. Yes, I am Holly from Curon Food Production. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Before we go into our main topic about the food safety for export and let you know about how much the food safety for export is very important for Curon Food Production, I would like to introduce a little bit about my company. My company created in 2013, and we start our own operation in 2014. And the reason why our company set up because during the peak season, the mango we found that the mango was thrown away, and also the wastage of the mango thrown away that made the farmer encounter the big loss as well. And at our first started, we started around 10 tons of fresh mango per day, with the workers around from 50 to 70 staff and workers. At that time, and but now we increase our production to from 70 to 100 tons per day with the worker around 50 to 900 workers, including staff and workers. We start from a very difficulty at the time. You know, from our start at the time, when we turn our key project to the overseas company. At the time, meaning that the company that we give them our turnkey project, they promise to buy the product from us in whatever amount. But unfortunately, when we produce when the product already produced, they say that our product that is meet the requirement like this, like that, and they decide reject and not accept our product at the time. Learning from the difficult we start to run by our own. We start run by our own. We put many effort. We put many effort to strengthen our sale, both market and technical. At the market side, we update we develop, we update our website, and we put our company on the Alibaba. That is a big part that make at the time it is a big part that have the customer can find us. And at the time also, we have one customer that approached to Kirirong food production. And they did not require any document. They just required the document from the ministry. We can say that the document from Ministry of Industry, Science, Technology and Innovation that we call that Ministry of, before we call that Ministry of Handicraft and Industry and Handicraft. Putting the implementation of the food safety in our company, it is in our vision as well. Our vision, we would like to make our product, make our company to be the world class, socially responsible, and we want to get the trust from the customer. Actually, we would like to do the organic, but currently we cannot do. Anyway, we keep going. We still keep my way to do it in any way at this stage. And our values: integrity, happy, healthy, and tasty. Putting food safety in our company as well. From step to another step, we are in the consistency, like. This is the consistency from the farmer to our production and from the distribution to the end consumer as well. What our market, local market, actually our local sale is around the 10 to 15% of the local sale. But during COVID time, we got almost 0%. Our company rely on almost 100% for export. And these are some export market that so far our company arrived already. Yes. Yes. Certificate we achieved. So far we got the certificate like 5S, GHP, HACCP, ISO 22000, Halal, FDA, Caution, BRC is on progress. For 5S, HACCP, GSO 22000, we got the support from our government, Ministry of Industry, Science, Technology, and Innovation. Thank you for the ministry that support us so far. And also BRC, we got a support from GIZ. Thank you, GIZ. Through the certificate we achieved, many challenges we got. Because, at the time we know nothing. Yes. You know nothing about the food safety at the time, but luckily we got a support. Luckily we got a support from the government, Ministry of Industry, Science, Technology and Innovation, and also GIZ that support us so far. That's why we can make it. And another challenge about the building construction. Building construction, we are sure we are not meet the requirement standard of the food safety. That's why year to year, we always keep renovating our building construction. Yes, especially we always make it during the vacancy of the mango production, because at the time we are free, no mango to produce, we are free, and then we keep renovating. But to align with the food safety standard. Another challenge about the source of supply. Most of the raw material we buy from the local supplier. Yes, like example, like plastic, packaging, sugar, etc. We buy from the local supplier. But actually those products are good. We can use it. They are good. But the problem is when we request any document, we can say that a COA, certificate of analysis from them, they said that no. They had only the product. That's also the challenge as well. Learning from those challenges, we also get a benefit from them also, that when we give the opportunity to our staff to get the training more, to develop their own. And as a result, we got that. our products are standardized, and both standardized but as a result, we can build our stock capability with efficiency, and our product to be recognized by the market, both local and export, and we can sell the money for the long operation as well, and especially it enhance our company reputation. And another thing, we can avoid any complaint occur. Actually, we got a complaint, but we also accept it and we're responsible. The food safety for export. Yes, sure. Actually, some customer require any document like that. For example, the customer require ISO, HACCP. If we don't have, they cannot buy us. And some customer not require at all. But actually, we want to improve. We want to update ourselves. We have to implement the food safety in our company. That's why we get the more trust from the customer. Yes, but compulsory. But some market we must do it. Like currently, we oriented our product to the EU market that was supported by GIZ. They require BOC. So that's why we have to apply BOC for the EU market. Yes, and anyway, it can protect company from financial loss as well. Honestly, we used to get a complaint from the customer. Sometimes we got a product return, have any compensation occur, but we accept it. We accept it. We responsible. The conclusion, yes, it is a must that we have to implement the food safety in our company, whether it is a requirement from customer or not. It's not just the market. The food safety standard implementation in our company is the backbone that make our company can survive until now. We run and grow sustainably right now. Yes, thank you.
Okay, and Holly, thank you very much for that presentation. I really liked this slide in particular, just showing all of the certifications out there, and also the fact that you've gone for halal, you've gone for kosher, yes, that maybe not be required, that maybe are not required to access a market, but are required to access a certain customer base. So I'll come back to this in a little bit. But yeah, thank you very much for your presentation. And I hope for the companies on board here today, they can see this this inspirational company and follow their example. As Holly mentioned, a number of these certificates were obtained with GIZ support. So if you are an SME looking to start your certification journey, please send an email to us and we can add you to the list for GIZ Business Councils for Development, GIZ Arise Plus Cambodia, Arise Plus Cambodia, because they are working on schemes specifically to promote Cambodian companies get their certifications. So it's now 11 p.m. and we'll move on to the Q&A. We overran a little bit, so I hope the people in the audience will forgive us extending the Q&A for an extra 10 minutes, and we will finish this event at 11:20 a.m. And my first question will be for our food auditor, food safety auditor, Ms. Rathana. And so, Rathana, the question is simply, at a high level, how much does it cost to actually get certified for some of for the most basic certifications? I know it changes from company to company, but from Control Union, how much does it cost to get one of these certificates and how long does it take?
Yes, thank you, Tom, for the question. Normally for the basic certification like HACCP, GMP, normally less than 1,000 per year. And for HACCP and ISO 22000, it's around 1,500 to 3,000. It depends on the processing and how big the company is. The more the processing, more type of product, more staff, and then it will be higher cost like that. And for the HACCP ISO 22000, the certificate valid for 3 years. So the first year we call initial audit, it cost around 1,500 to 3,000, and for the second year and third year we call surveillance audit, cost around 1,000, and from the fourth year that after the certificate expire, we call recertification audit. It costs around 1,000 plus to 2,000, and for the higher standard like IC 22,000 or BRC, it's around 2,000 per year. Yeah, USD plus the unit is USD. I mean.
Okay, interesting.
And
So
yeah, and for the period to get certificate, if the company ready and they apply, normally it take around 3 months from the close meeting audit to issue the certificate. Maximum 3 months. Yeah.
okay, maximum 3 months. Okay, and that's okay. And really interesting to hear the most common ones, HACCP, for example, and around 3 months. So thank you very much, Rathana, for that. So while we have you on as our question and answer, I do have another question as well for you. A number of the questions we've had in the chat box are specific questions. What are the certifications for fish products? What are the certifications for mango, for pepper, etc.? We probably won't be able to answer them specifically, but where can SMEs go to find out what certificates or what food safety standards they need to meet for their specific product? I know you mentioned the Codex Alimentarius as one version, but if you were an SME wanting to find out what food safety standard you need to meet, what would be your approach to finding that out as easily as possible? And this question for you, Rathana, at first, but others can jump in afterwards.
Oh, sorry, I was dropped. Sorry, can you repeat again the question?
No problem. So the question is, if you were an SME looking to find which certificate or food safety standard you needed to meet for your product, what would be the best resource, the easiest way for them to find out what safety certificate or standard they need?
Okay. For the SME, for the startup company, I would recommend they to start first with the HACCP or GMP. Normally, they already apply HACCP. It means it already covered GMP. Yeah. It every food safety standard, the core or the standard is ACCP. So better to start first with the basic one, GMP and in HACCP, and then later on they can update to ISO 22000. Yeah. If they already certified for HACCP, it means it's already more than 80% to the ISO 22000. And after the HACCP certification, it's easier to upgrade to ISO 22000. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I guess the first step, HACCP, ISO 22, well, HACCP is the first one, GMP the first one, and then they can start upgrading from there. I think actually probably the easiest way to find out which, for an SME wanting to understand this, the easiest way would be to send an email to Control Union, to Bureau Veritas, and I'm sure they could tell you which certificates you need for your products. So we have the contacts of our speakers here. If anybody on the audience has a specific question, like what is the requirement I need for fisheries, we can then refer it to either Rathana or Cindy after this. So thank you very much, Rathana. My next question is for Cindy, and this was one of the questions we had as the pre-registered participants, so for the questions that you submitted when you first registered. Of course, in Cambodia, there's not too many laboratories here at the moment. There's not too many testing bodies here, and it means that quite often SMEs have to hire in external auditors from Vietnam, from Thailand. I guess just for the information of the people in the audience, Cindy, why do you think that is at the moment? Why is there a lack of laboratory bodies in laboratory and testing bodies in Cambodia? And is there anything that you recommend that you're seeing that could improve Cambodia's ability to test, certify for cheaper costs actually in Cambodia? Yes, Cindy, question for you.
Yes, thanks, Tom, for your interesting question. I think to build a laboratory, we need the human resource, equipment, chemical, and the testing demand in enough large to attract the investor to invest to these industries. And you also know the testing requirements are so much. We have a pesticide, drug residues, microbiology, and chemicals. So I think the investor, they need the time and the capital to invest the food safety testing industries. When the thing is okay, I think in Cambodia we have a lot of laboratories in the future. Yes, I believe that.
Okay, perfect. And actually, just as a follow-up for that question, and maybe Cindy and Rathana, you can have a go at this. Do you see demand increasing from Cambodian companies to have their goods certified? Do you see more an upwards trend of Cambodian companies looking to get their products certified?
Yes, about currently some SME they already try to get themselves compliant to the standard. I can see more and more, even though some is not yet ready in the preparation state, because sometimes they start from zero, I can say, and then they need to adopt, like building renovation. It needs some time, 1 year to 2 years, to be ready for the compliant to the standard requirement. A bit time consuming, but also the buyer, not only in the other country, also local buyer, customer or client, they also looking for the standard, like HACCP is some company already certified HACCP or ISO 22000, and then they can access to supermarket easier, and then also the support from the local people as well. So I can see the trend is more and more, and also with the encouragement from the authority, from the ministry for the food safety in the country. Yeah, that's it.
Oh. All right, thank you very much, Rathana. And yeah, I think that partly answers the question of how would you assess the overall readiness of the sector to comply with these food safety standards. It does seem that there's a growing number of companies and a growing number of support initiatives. But I would just try to build on that with Cindy. I know you are managing the Vietnam office, but I'm sure you have many Cambodian companies sending their samples to you. But for yourself, Cindy, have you seen an increase in the number of Cambodian firms sending their samples to your Vietnam lab?
Yes, I used to work with a company from Cambodia. They sent to us the spice sample, dry fruit sample, and some finished food product. And I think the main hazard, I guess, maybe the pesticides and microbiology hazard, and I think by my daily activity when I work with Cambodia producers, I always share with them a lot of regulation from the EU or the US. especially we also provide a nutritional testing for them. So I think we have a good communication between together. So I think it's a good one to support many companies in Cambodia. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so a small market. So in answer to that good question, the readiness, I think it's a small market, not too many companies, but a list that is growing every day. I mean, this is certainly what we're seeing with our support programs, and I'm sure Arise Plus is seeing, and Business Council Development are seeing as well. So Cindy, thank you for that. Just again, while we have you on, Cindy, we did have another specific question about a product type, and I'll ask this one because I know it's an important area for the Ministry of Agriculture, in Cambodia, as well as the EU in Cambodia. Cindy, could you share with us your experiences in dealing with export markets for fisheries could you share your experiences getting fisheries products certified for EU markets? And what are the main market and regulatory requirements that companies would need to comply with for the fisheries sector? Because this is a sector that I know is very big in Vietnam already, and is a sector that is hoped to be expanded in Cambodia. So just to answer Rathana's question, Cindy, are there any specific lessons, requirements you would like to share related to fisheries products from Southeast Asia to EU?
Yes, in Vietnam we also the aqua products and seafoods, and we work with a lot of company here, but not much from Cambodia. I hope in the future we can work with them more. I think with that products, the QC team or QA team just focus on the microbiology control and drugs residues, because the fish and poultry, the feed and poultry, maybe they can put some drugs inside the feed, and it's contaminate to the finished product. So I think should focus on that.
Okay, thank you, Cindy. Okay, and also for Mr. Ro Trang, if you want more details on that, send an email to the EuroCham team, and then we can send it across to Cindy for a bit more information. So thank you, Cindy. So my last set of questions are actually going to be for Mr. Holly now, as we approach our final 5 minutes. We had one interesting question, which I quite liked, and it kind of touched on what you were talking about. The question was from Miss Linda Lai, and the question was, has Kirarom food production ever had any complaints from customers related to food safety, and how did you manage those ones? I know you mentioned it in your presentation, and I think it's important because, of course, sometimes mistakes will be made. But yeah, what's the approach to manage that?
Thank you for the question. Thank you, Hasket. Yes, actually, as I mentioned in our slide, we got a complaint. Even we implement the food safety, but honestly, we got it. Yes, the complaint, most of the complaint are from the also we have the inequality with our product. Yes, when we got a complaint, okay, some complaint they return the product. Some complaint, yes, they got our product, but they give us they want us to give them any compensation, like we deliver, we ship out one container with 22 tons. Like say 10 tons got many problem, and sometimes if compensate. If we found that the error come from a part, yes, we do the compensation for that.
Okay.
We accept our responsibility, but actually we still implement the food safety in our company.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's a good answer. So if you have that, so occasionally there may be some complaints, you take responsibility for it, you compensate where necessary, and do your best to maintain the food safety quality standards within your company.
But first we have to find out our root cause. From the root cause, sometimes the root cause is not from our product, it's from our logistic on the way.
That must be frustrating to, but I can see. But so analyze where the problem was from, and then manage accordingly. So I think a good answer to an interesting question. Thank you for that. So we have around enough time for 2 more questions. Again, for Holly, I'll ask you, but potentially other panelists can drop in. Of course, a big problem with getting products export ready is talking to the farmers so that they produce their raw materials in a consistent fashion. My question for you with Kira on food production is, how easy or how challenging has it been to convince the raw materials producers to adopt certain food safety practices so that you can use their products to export?
Honestly, it is our much challenge on that. We always follow the food safety standard or requirement. Yes, we have to follow like any raw material that we buy. We have to provide our QA, QC, the any certificate. But most of the time we cannot make it. The problem is that yes, that is our much challenge. We right now we still get the challenge on that. We still right now.
Okay, so it's an ongoing challenge.
That, challenge, yes.
Are there any tips you can share to?
But actually, that product are good. We can use it. We never got any complaint about the ingredient, but the problem about the document. We cannot get it. Yes.
And what are the documents that you're missing?
Especially about the MSDS or COA, about the ingredient that our QA should need it.
Okay, for the people who may not know those acronyms, if you could just explain those ones.
Yes. About the COA, the full name is a certificate of analysis. That the certificate that mentioned very clearly about what is the product, what is the raw material coming from, like a chemical, like biology or physical as well. Very detailed inside. Yes, that's why our QC or QC and QA need them to verify whether that whether those supplier align with the food safety standard or not.
Okay, interesting. Thank you. And clearly, so in answer to the person, so this was an anonymous question. Unfortunately, I don't know the person who answered that. But
I want to add more. Even my product as well, when I deliver to our customer, I have to issue our internal COA to certify that my product follow the food safety standard like this, like that. Mentioned very clear in our COA.
Okay, perfect. And I've just had a Fraser McRobert, if that's your new name, from 17 Triggers. That was a very good question, so thank you for that. So clearly an ongoing challenge that Kira on food production has managed to some extent. Still something that needs to be developed. Potentially that could be a future SME Export Talk.
Why not?
So it's 11:20 now. I mean, I have a list of 12 questions here. There's another 13, 14 in the text box that we could get to, but unfortunately we have to close today's event. Cindy has very kindly offered in the chat box to answer any other questions that you may have. She's given her email address there. We'll share the email addresses of all of the speakers today, actually. So for the people registered today, if you want to reach out to a panelist, if you want to reach out to Arise Plus, we'll provide their contact details, and perhaps one of you can get involved in the certification training. You can get involved in the certification support. You can ask specific questions to the experts related to your priority products. And so this event hopefully functions as a launch pad for those future questions. So for the other questions on the box, we will be sharing a recording of this. We'll share the full YouTube recording. We'll send it to registered participants. Sorry. We will also send a PDF of all the slides. I know there was a lot of information packed into those slides. So for you to read into in more detail in your own time. And With that, actually, Guillaume.
Just one thing to say. As I said, we support currently 15 SMEs, and when we ask them how can we help you actually? And we were business partner to identify a new buyer in a new destination market, and they say, well, no, we need to comply with standard and certification in order to export. And this is the number one technical assistance as well as they want to discuss with us, the experience we have, and also we work also with consultants. So this is also an experience we are happy to share.
Perfect. Okay, and a very kind offer, and and with that, I'll close off actually. So Rathana, thank you so much for joining from Control Union. Cindy, thank you for joining us from Vietnam today. Great, you sharing your inputs from the cross-border side. Holly, thank you for sharing your expertise related to Yuong food production. Really impressive to see your list of certificates. Arise Plus, thank you for helping us, for allowing these events to happen. Participants, we had around 140 in total joining, so thank you for joining today. And we really hope to see you at the next SME Export Talk. So thank you very much, and see you next time.
Thank you.